Zeke had been studying human behavioral patterns for 3 standard cycles, but he still didn't understand the moment when engineer Lisa Rodriguez first called him kiddo. The Valkyrie xenobiologist stood barely 4 feet tall, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights of the Deep Space Research Station Meridian. His species was solitary by nature, efficient, logical, and utterly baffled by the complex social hierarchies that seemed to govern human interaction. "Kiddo, hand me that quantum calibrator," Lisa said, without looking up from the warp drive assembly she was rebuilding. "The one with the blue housing." Zeke's translator struggled with the term. Kiddo had no direct equivalent in Valkyrie language. The closest approximation was offspring not yet mature, but that couldn't be right. He was a fully credentialed xenobiologist, older than Lisa by several years, and definitely not her biological offspring. "Engineer Rodriguez," he said carefully, "I believe your translator may be malfunctioning. I am not your juvenile offspring." Lisa laughed, that peculiar human sound that indicated amusement rather than mockery. "It's not about age, Zeke. It's about, well, you'll figure it out." That had been 6 months ago. Since then, Zeke had documented increasingly puzzling behavior patterns in the human crew. Engineer Rodriguez had begun including him in what she called family dinners in the station's common area. Security Chief Marcus Thompson started teaching him what humans called card games, despite the activity serving no apparent scientific or survival purpose. Most confusing of all, Medical Officer Dr. Sarah Kim had begun asking about his health and emotional state with a frequency that suggested either professional incompetence or personal investment far beyond normal colleague relationships. The first time Zeke truly understood the implications came during the Proxima Station incident. The research station had been conducting routine deep space surveys when long-range sensors detected an incoming vessel, a hegemony dreadnought that shouldn't have been in neutral space. Captain James Chen's voice echoed through the station's communication system. "All personnel to emergency stations. Incoming hostile vessel. AT, 47 minutes." Zeke felt his exoskeleton plates tighten with instinctive fear responses. The galactic hegemony was notorious for their treatment of non-aligned species. Valkyrie were often captured for use in their gladiatorial combat systems. Their natural agility and analytical minds made them entertaining opponents for hegemony warriors. "Zeke." Lisa's voice cut through his panic. "Emergency Protocol 7. You know the drill." Emergency Protocol 7 was evacuation procedures. Zeke had memorized them thoroughly, as had all station personnel. But as he moved toward the evacuation pods, Lisa grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "Not you, kiddo. You're coming with us." "I do not understand." Protocol 7 specified. "Protocol 7 is for station personnel," Marcus interrupted, checking his sidearm with practiced efficiency. "Your family." The word hit Zeke's translator like a logic bomb. Family. Among the Valkyrie, family meant genetic lineage, reproductive partnerships, and clearly defined biological relationships. But humans seem to use the term differently. "I am not genetically related to any station personnel," Zeke protested. Dr. Kim appeared beside them, her medical scanner already analyzing his stress indicators. "Genetic relationship isn't the point, Zeke. You've been with us for almost a year. You eat with us, work with us, worry about us when we're in danger. Lisa taught you how to calibrate quantum drives. Marcus taught you poker. I've been monitoring your health because I care about your well-being." "That makes you family," Lisa said firmly. "And humans don't abandon family." What happened next redefined Zeke's understanding of human social structures entirely. The hegemony dreadnought arrived precisely on schedule, broadcasting standard intimidation protocols. Captain Chen's response was immediate and uncompromising. "Hegemony vessel, you are in violation of neutral space accords. Withdraw immediately or face defensive action." The alien commander's response was predictably arrogant. "Human vessel, surrender the Valkyrie specimen for combat evaluation. Compliance is mandatory." Zeke Thar felt his respiratory system freeze. They knew he was here. Somehow, Hegemony intelligence had identified his presence on the station. Captain Chen's reply echoed through the bridge. "Negative. Station personnel are under Terran Defense Force protection. Any hostile action will be met with appropriate response." Captain Zeke Thar transmitted privately, "I am not Terran personnel. I am a Valkyrie research exchange participant. The Hegemony has legitimate salvage rights under." "Zeke," the captain's voice was quiet but firm. "Shut up. Your family." There was that word again. But this time, Zeke Thar began to understand its implications. The Hegemony dreadnought opened fire. What followed was 47 minutes of the most sophisticated combat Zeke Thar had ever witnessed. The research station Meridian wasn't a military vessel. It was a scientific platform with minimal armaments. But the human crew fought with a coordination and ferocity that defied their apparent technological disadvantage. Lisa Rodriguez rerouted power through the quantum drives to create energy weapons that shouldn't have been possible. Marcus Thompson used the station's gravitational sensors as targeting systems, turning their research equipment into improvised military technology. Dr. Kim somehow managed to keep everyone functional under combat stress, while simultaneously jamming Hegemony boarding attempts with modified medical scanners. But most remarkably, every tactical decision was made with Zeke Thar's safety as a primary consideration. When the Hegemony forces attempted to board, the crew's first priority was securing him in the most protected section of the station. When power became critical, they maintained life support to his quarters, even when it meant reducing defensive capabilities. They were risking their lives not for a strategic resource or tactical advantage, but because they had decided he was family. The Hegemony dreadnought withdrew after 17 of their boarding pods were destroyed by what Captain Chen later described as motivated amateur-hour engineering. As the alien vessel disappeared into warp space, Zeke Thar found himself surrounded by humans checking his condition, asking about his stress levels, and offering him what they called comfort food. "Why?" he asked Lisa, as she bandaged a minor cut on his exoskeleton. "From an evolutionary perspective, your behavior makes no sense. You risked your lives for a non-reproductive, non-genetically related individual with no strategic value to your species' survival." Lisa smiled, another complex human expression that conveyed warmth rather than aggression. "That's what family means to humans, Zeke. It's not about genetics or evolution or strategic value. It's about choosing to care about someone so much that their well-being becomes as important as your own." Dr. Kim looked up from her medical scanner. "You've been worried about Marcus when he goes on dangerous maintenance runs. You've been helping me with my xenobiology research in your off hours. You taught Lisa some of your engineering techniques that improved our drive efficiency by 12%. That behavior indicates you consider us family too," Marcus added, cleaning his sidearm with casual efficiency. "You just didn't realize it yet." Zeke Thar processed this information slowly. By human standards, he had indeed been engaging in family bonding behaviors without conscious recognition. The frequent social interactions, the mutual assistance, the emotional investment in their well-being, all of it matched the human pattern for family relationships. "So when humans decide you're family," he said slowly, "they will fight a Hegemony dreadnought to protect you. Among other things," Captain Chen said, joining the group in the medical bay. "They'll also teach you card games, worry about your nutrition, include you in celebrations, and listen to your problems at 3 in the morning." Ziegthar's translator finally found an adequate approximation for his emotional state, profound gratitude, mixed with species-level bewilderment. This explains why humans are considered extremely dangerous by most galactic civilizations, he observed. How so? Lisa asked. Because, Ziegthar replied, any species that treats non-genetic affiliations as equivalent to genetic survival imperatives will fight with irrational intensity for individuals that other species would consider expendable. The humans exchanged glances and began laughing. That sound, Ziegthar was finally beginning to understand, as an expression of shared understanding. Yeah, Marcus said, grinning. That's exactly why we're dangerous. Ziegthar made a note in his research files. Human family bonds transcend logical species survival parameters. This behavior pattern may explain their rapid territorial expansion and disproportionate military effectiveness despite relatively primitive technology. Then he made a second note in his personal files. Status update. I have been adopted by humans. Emotional well-being has increased by measurable parameters. Recommend continued family participation. After all, he was beginning to understand that being family to humans meant being part of something larger than individual survival. It meant being part of something that would fight the entire galaxy to keep you safe.